The lights in Murphy's bar were dim and yellow. Smoke from alien cigarettes made the air thick and hard to breathe. Captain Dae-ho Kim sat alone at a small table in the corner. He wore simple clothes, a black shirt and brown pants. Nothing special. Nothing that would make people look at him twice. He was not a big man. Average height, maybe 5 feet 8 inches. His black hair was cut short and neat. His face was calm, like still water. He had dark eyes that watched everything but showed nothing. In his hands he held a glass of earth whiskey. The drink was warm now. He had been holding it for an hour without taking a sip. Nexus Prime was the biggest trade station in this part of the galaxy. Ships came here from 100 different worlds. The bar was full of strange creatures. There were tall blue aliens with 4 arms, small green ones with big eyes, red ones that looked like walking lizards. They all talked and laughed and argued, in their own languages. Dae-ho did not talk to anyone. He just sat and watched. This was his first day of leave in 8 months. 8 months of fighting, 8 months of war. He was tired. Very tired. All he wanted was to sit quietly and drink his whiskey, but peace was hard to find even here. "Look at this," said a loud voice near the bar. "Another human thinks he owns the place." Dae-ho looked up. A large alien stood near the bar counter. He was 7 feet tall with blue scales covering his body. 4 yellow eyes looked around the room. This was a Vorthak. They called themselves the Peacekeepers of the Galaxy, but most people just called them bullies. The Vorthak's name was Consul Jamin Park. He wore a fancy uniform with gold buttons and ribbons. A badge on his chest said Galactic Peace Officer. Behind him stood 4 guards. They all had weapons on their belts. "Humans," Park said, making the word sound dirty. "They come to our stations, they drink our drinks, they think they belong here." The bar got quiet. Everyone stopped talking. They all looked at Park, then at Dae-ho. They knew trouble was coming. Dae-ho took a small sip of his whiskey. It burned his throat, but he did not make a face. He just put the glass back on the table. "You," Park pointed at Dae-ho, "human, what are you doing on my station?" "Drinking," Dae-ho said. His voice was quiet and calm. "Drinking what?" "Whiskey." Park walked over to Dae-ho's table. His heavy boots made loud sounds on the metal floor. The 4 guards followed him. Other people in the bar moved away, giving them space. "Where are you from, human?" "Earth." "What is your job?" "Soldier." Park's 4 eyes got bright with interest. "Soldier? What kind of soldier?" "The kind that follows orders." "Show me your papers." Dae-ho reached into his pocket slowly. He pulled out a small electronic card. It was his identification. It said his name, his homeworld, and his job. But it did not say what kind of soldier he was. It did not say about the wars he had fought. It did not say about the enemies he had killed. Park took the card and looked at it. Dae-ho Kim, age 32, born on Earth, military service. He gave the card back. "You are on leave?" "Yes." "From what?" "From war." Park laughed. It was not a nice laugh. "War? What do humans know about war? You have been in space for only 50 years. We Vorthak have kept peace in this galaxy for 5,000 years. Dae-ho said nothing. He picked up his glass again. "I do not like soldiers in my station," Park said. "Soldiers cause trouble. They fight. They break things. They hurt people. I am not causing trouble. Not yet. But you will. All humans do." At the other end of the bar, 2 alien traders started arguing. One was red with horns. The other was purple with tentacles. They were fighting about money. Their voices got louder and louder. "See?" Park said, pointing at the 2 aliens. "Violence follows humans everywhere. Even when you do nothing, others start fighting." The 2 aliens began pushing each other. Other people in the bar moved away from them, but the fight was small. Just 2 drunk aliens arguing about business, nothing serious. Park smiled. It was not a good smile. "Guards, arrest this human." "For what?" Daeho asked. He still sounded calm. For disturbing the peace, for being a threat to station security. For being human. I have done nothing wrong. You exist. On my station, that is enough. The 4 guards moved closer. They put their hands on their weapons. Daeho looked at them. He counted 4 guards. He looked at their weapons. Stun guns, not real guns. He looked at their positions. Not very good. They were too close together. If he wanted to, he could, but he did not want to. He was tired of fighting. He was tired of war. He just wanted to drink his whiskey in peace. Fine, Daeho said. He stood up slowly. He left his whiskey on the table. Where are we going? Detention Center Block C, Park said. You will stay there until we decide what to do with you. How long will that be? As long as I want. The guards put metal cuffs on Daeho's hands. They were not tight, but they were strong. The metal was cold against his skin. One guard took his wallet, another took his watch. They left him his clothes. As they walked through the station, people stopped to watch. Humans were not common here. Most of them had never seen one arrested before. Some looked worried. Others looked curious. A few looked happy. The detention center was in the lower part of the station. The walls were gray metal. The lights were white and bright. It smelled like cleaning chemicals and fear. Put him in cell 15, Park told the guards, with the others. Cell 15 was small. It had 4 metal walls, a metal floor, and a metal ceiling. There was one small window made of thick glass. Through it, Daeho could see space and stars. Inside the cell were 3 other prisoners. One was a thin green alien with big ears. One was a fat yellow alien with 6 legs. The third was human. The human was young, maybe 25 years old. He had brown hair and worried eyes. When he saw Daeho, he jumped up from his bed. Another human, he said. Thank God. I thought I was the only one here. My name is Young-Soo Lee. I am an engineer. I fix computers and machines. What is your name? Daeho Kim. What are you here for? Being human. Young-Soo laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. Yeah, that seems to be a crime here. I was fixing a broken air recycler, the one that keeps everyone breathing. But they said I was tampering with station systems. Now I am in jail. Daeho sat on the empty bed. It was hard and uncomfortable. How long have you been here? 3 days. The guards say we might be here for weeks, or months, or... Young-Soo's voice got quiet. Or maybe forever. Through the walls, Daeho could hear other prisoners. They were talking, crying, or singing sad songs. This was not a good place. This was a place where hope came to die. But Daeho had been in worse places, much worse places. He had been in trenches, full of mud and blood. He had been in buildings that were falling down while bombs exploded outside. He had been in the deep dark of space with no air and no heat. This was just another bad place. And like all the other bad places, he would find a way out. He lay down on the hard bed and closed his eyes. But he did not sleep. He listened. He learned. He planned. Because Staff Sergeant Daeho Kim, the ghost of Kepler 442, was not just any soldier. And soon Consul Park would learn that arresting him was the biggest mistake of his life. Daeho woke up when the lights turned on. It was morning on the station, but there were no windows in the cell to show real sunlight. Just bright white lights that hurt his eyes. Young-Soo was already awake. He sat on his bed with his head in his hands. The other 2 aliens were still sleeping. The green one snored loudly. The yellow one made clicking sounds with his mouth. Did you sleep? Young-Soo asked. Some, Daeho said. It was not true. He had stayed awake all night listening. He learned many things by listening. He learned that there were 64 cells in this detention center. He learned that most of them were full. He learned that the guards changed shifts every 8 hours. He learned that the food came twice, a day through a small slot in the door. He also learned that people disappeared from here. They went away and never came back. The guards will bring breakfast soon, Young-Soo said. It is not very good. Tastes like cardboard mixed with salt. I have eaten worse things. Really? Like what? Daeho did not answer. He had eaten tree bark during the siege of New Cambria. He had eaten insects during the winter war on Frost Prime. He had eaten nothing at all for 5 days while hiding in the ruins of Port Jackson. But he did not talk about those times. The food slot opened with a loud bang. A metal tray slid through. On it were 4 bowls of gray soup and 4 pieces of hard bread. It looked terrible, but Daeho had seen much worse. The green alien woke up and grabbed his bowl quickly. His name was Doksu, and he was from a planet called Zentara. He was here because he could not pay his trading taxes. The yellow alien moved more slowly. His name was Minho, and he had too many arms and eyes to count. He was here because he asked too many questions about Vorthak laws. They treat us like animals, Youngsu said as he ate his soup. No trials, no lawyers, no chances to prove we are innocent. The Vorthak do not care about innocent, Minho said in a voice that sounded like music. They only care about power. Daeho ate his soup without complaining. It tasted like old water with bits of something that might have been vegetables, or might have been anything else. After breakfast, a guard came to their cell. He was tall and mean-looking with scars on his blue face. His uniform was black with silver buttons. On his chest was a name tag that said, Captain Yunwoo Kang. Listen up, prisoners, Kang said. His voice was loud and rough. Today we have special rules. No talking, no moving around, no breathing too loud. Why? Youngsu asked. Kang hit the metal door with his stick. The sound was very loud. Because I said so, human. You ask questions, you get punishment. Daeho watched Kang carefully. The guard captain was big and strong, but he moved like someone who had never been in a real fight. His stick was just for show. His uniform was too clean. His boots were shiny but had no scratches. This was a bully, not a warrior. I do not like humans, Kang said, looking right at Daeho and Youngsu. You think you are special because you are new to space. You think you can come here and change our ways. We just want to live in peace, Youngsu said. Peace? Kang laughed. There is no peace for humans here. You are guests in our galaxy, unwelcome guests. Kang walked away, but Daeho could still hear his voice in the hallway. He was talking to other guards. Tonight we picked the ones for the show, Kang said. Which ones? Another guard asked. The humans, for sure. And maybe that singing yellow thing. People need to see what happens when you do not respect Vorthak authority. Daeho's body went very still. He knew what the show meant. He had seen it before on other worlds. Public execution. They would kill prisoners in front of crowds to scare other people. Youngsu heard it too. His face went white with fear. Did he say what I think he said? Yes. We have to do something. Like what? I do not know. Call for help. Contact Earth. Something. Daeho looked around the cell. The walls were thick metal. The door was locked with electronic systems. The window was too small for a person to fit through. But every prison had weaknesses. Every cage had a way out. He just had to find it. Tell me about the station, Daeho said to Youngsu. What do you mean? The layout, the systems, the power grid. You said you are an engineer. Youngsu wiped his nose with his sleeve. Why do you want to know? Just tell me. Youngsu thought for a moment. Nexus Prime has 5 levels. We are on level 3. Above us are the shops and restaurants. Below us are the power plants and waste systems. The detention center takes up most of level 3. What about security? Cameras everywhere, motion sensors in the hallways, locked doors that need keycards to open. Guards? Maybe 50 total. They work in groups of 4. Each group watches one section of the detention center. Daeho nodded. What about the power? 3 main generators. If one breaks, the other 2 keep working. But if 2 break, Youngsu stopped talking. His eyes got wide. You are not thinking of breaking out, are you? Maybe. That is crazy. Even if we could get out of this cell, where would we go? The whole station is full of Vorthak guards. We will see. That afternoon, more prisoners arrived. They were put in cells nearby. Daiho could hear them crying and begging. Some were old, some were very young. None of them were criminals. They were just people who had made the Vorthak angry. One new prisoner was human, a woman named Yunji who sold books on the upper levels. Her crime was selling a book that talked about freedom and democracy. The Vorthak did not like those ideas. "How many humans live on this station?" Daiho asked Young-soo. "Maybe 200. Most work in the factories or restaurants. We keep our heads down and try not to cause trouble. But trouble found you anyway." "Yes." Evening came. The lights in the hallway got dimmer, but they never went completely dark. Daiho could hear the guards talking and laughing. They were drinking something that made them loud and stupid. Around midnight, Captain Kang came back. He had 3 other guards with him. They all carried stun sticks and handcuffs. "Time to pick our stars for tomorrow's show," Kang said. He looked at a list on his electronic pad. "Let me see. We need at least 6 prisoners. 2 humans, 2 Zentarians, 1 Altarian, and 1 surprise." He pointed at Young-soo. "You engineer. You are coming with us." "No," Young-soo said. "I did nothing wrong." "Wrong is what I say it is." They opened the cell door and grabbed Young-soo. He tried to fight, but he was not strong. They put the handcuffs on him and dragged him away. Kang looked at Daiho. "You are next, quiet man. Tomorrow you will not be so quiet. Tomorrow you will scream." But Daiho did not look scared. He looked at Kang with calm, dark eyes. There was something in those eyes that made Kang step back. "What are you looking at?" Kang asked. "A dead man," Daiho said quietly. Kang laughed, but it did not sound confident. "We will see who is dead tomorrow." After they left, the cell was very quiet. Doksu and Minho were too scared to talk. They sat on their beds and stared at the walls. But Daiho was not scared. He was thinking, planning, counting. In 18 hours, they would try to kill his friend Young-soo. In 18 hours, they would try to kill innocent people just to make a point. 18 hours was more than enough time. Daiho had done harder things with much less time. The ghost of Kepler 442 was about to wake up. On Earth, Admiral Sujin Moon sat in her office reading reports. Her desk was covered with papers about the war on the outer worlds. But then her assistant came running in with urgent news. "Admiral," the assistant said, breathing hard. "We have a problem. Staff Sergeant Daiho Kim has been arrested." Sujin looked up from her papers. "Kim, the sniper from Kepler 442? "Yes, ma'am. He is being held on Nexus Prime Station by Vorthak security." Sujin stood up quickly. Her chair fell backward and hit the wall. "Contact Ambassador Taehyun Cho immediately. Tell him to get Kim released right now." "The ambassador already tried, ma'am. The Vorthak refused. They say Kim is a dangerous criminal." "Criminal?" Sujin's voice got very loud. "Kim saved 10,000 people on Kepler 442. He held off an entire enemy fleet by himself. Should I tell the ambassador about Kim's service record?" Sujin thought for a moment. Kim's real identity was military secret, but sometimes secrets had to be broken to save lives. "Yes," she said. "Tell Cho everything. Every mission, every medal, every confirmed kill. Maybe that will make the Vorthak think twice." 3 hours later, Ambassador Cho called back. His face on the video screen looked worried and angry. "The Vorthak still refused to release Kim," Cho said. "I told them who he is. I showed them his service record. But Consul Park thinks we are lying." "Lying?" "He says humans always exaggerate their war stories. He thinks Kim is just a regular soldier." Sujin hit her desk with her fist. Papers flew everywhere. "That arrogant fool has no idea what he's dealing with. Admiral, there is something else. Intelligence reports say the Vorthak are planning a public execution. They want to make an example of human prisoners." Sujin's blood went cold. "When?" "Tomorrow morning, station time. Get me fleet command. We are sending ships." "Admiral, Nexus Prime is in neutral space. If we send warships, it could start a war. And if they kill Kim, it will definitely start a war." Meanwhile, on a planet called Altaria, Intelligence Officer Kyung Mi Seo was reading the same reports. The Altarians were old friends of humanity. They had fought together in many battles. Kyung-mi knew about the ghost of Kepler 442. Every intelligence officer in the galaxy knew that story. One human sniper alone on a mountain holding off 5,000 enemy soldiers for 6 hours. It should have been impossible. But Kim did it. She tried to contact Nexus Prime Security. Maybe she could warn them. Maybe she could save some lives. This is Altarian intelligence, she said into her communication device. I need to speak with your security chief about a prisoner named Dae-ho Kim. What about him? Came the reply. You need to release him immediately. He is not a regular soldier. He is very dangerous. The voice laughed. All humans think they are dangerous. This one sits quietly in his cell like a pet. You do not understand. Kim is nothing. Just another weak human who will die tomorrow for the entertainment of real warriors. The communication ended. Kyung-mi stared at her device. She felt sorry for the Vorthak guards on Nexus Prime. They had no idea what was coming. Back on the station, word was spreading through the alien community. The Vorthak had announced the public execution. They said it would teach everyone about the price of defying Vorthak authority. But some aliens knew about human military reputation. They had heard stories from the war zones, stories about human soldiers who never gave up, who fought until the last bullet, who died standing up. In the lower levels of the station, a group of alien workers met in secret. The humans do not deserve this, said one. What can we do? Said another. The Vorthak are too strong. Maybe. But humans have a saying. It is not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. What does that mean? It means we should not judge by appearances. While they talked, Security Chief Bo-ram Young was preparing for the execution. She was checking weapons and guard positions. Everything had to be perfect. Consul Park wanted a good show. How many prisoners are we executing? She asked Captain Kang. 6 total. 2 humans, including that quiet one who thinks he is tough. Any problems expected? None. They are all weak and scared, except maybe the quiet human. He looks at me strangely. What do you mean? Like he knows something I do not. Bo-ram laughed. You worry too much. He is just one man in a cage. What can he do? But that night she had trouble sleeping. Something felt wrong. Her years of experience told her that big mistakes often started with small warnings that people ignored. In his cell, Dae-ho was not sleeping either. He was counting again. Counting guards. Counting minutes. Counting chances. Doksu and Minho watched him with frightened eyes. What are you doing? Doksu whispered. At 4 a.m, the detention center was quiet. Most guards were sleeping or playing cards in the break room. Only 2 guards walked the hallways, and they were tired and bored. Dae-ho had been waiting for this moment. He stood up from his bed and walked to the cell door. The lock was electronic, but the door frame was old metal. He had been studying it for hours. What are you doing? Minho whispered. Getting out. Dae-ho took off his shirt and wrapped it around his hand. Then he hit a specific spot on the door frame. The metal was weak there from years of use. It made a small crack. He hit it again, and again. Each hit was quiet and precise. After 10 minutes, the crack was big enough. He reached through the crack and found the manual door release. Every electronic lock had one for emergencies. His fingers found the small lever and pulled it. The door opened with a soft click. Doksu's mouth fell open. Minho made a squeaking sound. Stay here, Dae-ho told them. Do not make noise. When other prisoners start escaping, follow them. Bernard, are you going? To get my friend. Dae-ho stepped into the hallway. It was dark except for small emergency lights on the floor. He could hear a guard talking somewhere nearby. The guard sounded bored and sleepy. Dae-ho moved like a shadow. His bare feet made no sound on the metal floor. Years of training had taught him how to move without being seen or heard. The first guard was sitting at a desk reading something on his computer. He never saw Dae-ho coming. One quick strike to the neck, and the guard fell unconscious. Daeho took his keys and stun stick. The second guard was walking down a different hallway. Daeho followed him quietly for 30 seconds, then struck. Another guard down. Another set of keys. Now he had access to the entire detention center. Tier. Holding cells for condemned prisoners were on the far side of the building. Daeho moved through the hallways like a ghost, avoiding cameras and sensors. When he could not avoid them, he broke them. He found Young-soo in a small, dark cell with 5 other prisoners. They all looked scared and tired. Young-soo's face was bruised from fighting with the guards. "Daeho?" Young-soo whispered when the cell door opened. "How did you—" Questions later. Moving now. "What about the others?" Daeho looked at the other prisoners. They were all innocent people who had made the Vorthak angry. They did not deserve to die. "Everyone comes," he said. As they moved through the detention center, Daeho opened every cell they passed. Prisoners came out slowly at first, afraid it was a trap. But when they saw their cell doors were really open, they started to move. "Stay quiet," Daeho told them. "Stay together. Follow me." By now, more guards were noticing that something was wrong. Radio calls went out. Emergency lights started flashing. Security Chief Bo-ram Jung woke up in her office to the sound of alarms. "What is happening?" she demanded. "Prisoners are escaping," a guard reported. "Multiple cells are open." "How many prisoners?" "We do not know, maybe all of them." Bo-ram grabbed her weapon and ran toward the detention center. When she got there, she saw chaos. Prisoners were running in all directions, guards were chasing them but could not catch them all. "Find the leaders," she shouted. "Someone organize this." But Daeho was already 3 steps ahead. While the guards chased the other prisoners, he was in the security control room, shutting down the stations. Internal defenses. Young-soo helped him using his engineering skills to disable locks and cameras. "The main power grid is on level 5, Young-soo said. "If we shut it down—" "No," Daeho said. "People need life support. We only shut down security systems." "You know a lot about this kind of thing." "I know about many things." Captain Kang appeared in the doorway with 4 guards. He was angry and surprised. "You!" He pointed at Daeho. "How did you get out?" "I walked." "Impossible. Those cells are escape-proof." "Nothing is escape-proof." Kang raised his stun stick. "You think you are clever, human? You are still trapped on this station. There is nowhere to run." "I am not running." "Then what are you doing?" Daeho smiled. It was not a nice smile. "I am hunting." What happened next became legend throughout the galaxy. Daeho moved through Nexus Prime like death itself. Every step was planned. Every move was perfect. He used the station's own layout against the Vorthak guards. When they came around corners, he was waiting. When they tried to surround him, he was already gone. When they shot at him, they hit empty air. Captain Kang realized too late that they were not chasing a regular soldier. They were fighting something much worse. A predator who had spent years learning how to kill efficiently and quietly. "Call for backup," Kang shouted into his radio. "We need more guards." "All guards are already responding," came the reply. "He is everywhere at once." But Daeho was not everywhere. He was just very good at making it seem that way. While guards ran to one part of the station, he was already attacking another part. Young-soo watched in amazement as his quiet cellmate became something else entirely. Daeho moved like water, struck like lightning, and disappeared like smoke. "Who are you, really?" Young-soo asked. "A soldier." "What kind of soldier does things like this?" "The kind who keeps his friends alive." Security Chief Bo-ram Jung finally understood the truth when she found 12 of her guards unconscious in the main security office. None of them were dead, but all of them would wake up with terrible headaches. "This is not possible," she said to herself. "One man cannot do this." But one man was doing it. And that man was getting closer to Consul Park. Park had locked himself in his office on the upper level. He had 6 guards with him and enough weapons to fight a small war. He felt safe. He was wrong. Daeho appeared in Park's office like a nightmare. The guards never saw him coming. One moment they were standing. At attention, the next moment they were on the floor. Park tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. Daeho stood between him and the only door. "You," Park said, his voice shaking. "You are just a human. Just one small human." "Yes." "How did you do this? How did you defeat all my guards?" "Training. Experience. And you made me angry." "Angry? You were going to kill my friend. You were going to kill innocent people. That was a mistake." Park reached for his weapon, but Daeho was faster. Much faster. Park found himself on the floor with his own weapon pointed at his head. "Please," Park begged. "I was just following orders." "Whose orders?" "The Galactic Council. They told us to keep humans under control." "By killing them?" "By showing them their place." Daeho thought about killing Park. It would be easy. It would be justice. But he was a soldier, not a murderer. "You are going to release all the prisoners," Daeho said. "You are going to apologize to everyone you hurt, and you are going to leave this station and never come back. And if I refuse, then you will learn why they call me the ghost of Kepler 442. At that moment, Captain Mi Kyung-oh of the Earth Defense Force ship Indomitable arrived at Nexus Prime. She expected to find a battle in progress. Instead, she found the detention center empty, and all the Vorthak guards either unconscious or surrendering. "Status report," she asked Young-soo, who met her at the docking bay. One human soldier freed 64 prisoners, defeated 50 guards, and took control of the entire station. "One soldier?" "Staff Sergeant Daeho Kim." Mi Kyung smiled. She knew that name. Everyone in the fleet knew that name. "Where is he now?" "Having a conversation with Consul Park about the importance of treating prisoners with respect." The aftermath was swift and decisive. The Galactic Council, faced with evidence of illegal imprisonment and the embarrassing reality of what one human had accomplished, stripped the Vorthak of their peacekeeping authority. Consul Park faced charges for war crimes. Captain Kang was sent to prison. Security Chief Young lost her job and her rank. But the real victory was not legal or political. It was the story that spread through the galaxy like wildfire. The story of the ghost of Nexus Prime. The human who fought an entire security force by himself and won. In bars and trading posts throughout known space, aliens told and retold the story. Each time it got bigger and more amazing. Some said he killed 100 guards. Others said he destroyed the entire station with his bare hands. The truth was simpler and somehow more impressive. One quiet man, when pushed too far, had reminded the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated. Daeho returned to his leave, but he never finished his whiskey. Young-soo had become a good friend, and they spent their time talking about engineering and military tactics. "How did you stay so calm?" Young-soo asked one day. "I have seen worse things than Vorthak. Guards, what could be worse than that?" Daeho smiled. The look on an enemy's face when he realizes he has made a terrible mistake. And somewhere in the galaxy, other aliens who thought humans were weak and easy to bully heard the story of Nexus Prime and began to think again. The ghost had reminded them all of a simple truth: it is not wise to cage a predator, because eventually the predator will get out, and when it does, it will remember who put it there.